Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement. On today's video, yep, it's another midweek mini mail call. I think this is number 23. So without further ado, let's get right to it. All right, the first package, it's from Amazon, and I forgot to write the date when I got this, so not sure how old it is. All right, well, it's kind of funny what's in here. Looks like a plushie toy. Yeah, so it's a very soft stuffed animal. All right, in the box there was an Amazon gift note, and it goes, "I heard you needed a little more RAM. So here's one more. Love the show. Hope you have a giggle. From Adrian in Perth, Australia." It's literally a ram. Okay. That's really funny. That's really quite amusing. A stuffed ram. Oh boy, Adrian. Okay, yeah, you're funny. As everyone knows, I've gotten a lot of RAM, as in random access memory on mail call, kind of more than one person needs in a lifetime. So thank you to everyone who sent this, and thank you very much, Adrian, for sending this little gag gift. Really funny. All right, so we have a package here from Finland. I can't quite make out the name. The city name is also written pretty small, but I can definitely make out that it's from Finland, so hi to all my Finnish viewers. Finland is a country I have not been to yet, but I definitely would like to go, so perhaps one day I'll get there, and it'd be fun to do a little meetup with my fans in Finland. Oh, it's candy time. Oh, all right. All right, so there's a good amount of candy here, but let's see here. We actually have a few retro parts here. So I remember now, I was talking to my viewer about this quite a while ago. This is an Apple II SD card adapter. Kind of perfect now that I have the Apple II Plus. And I think in this holder here, this looks like a Commodore chip of some kind. So we'll take a look at that stuff in a second on the bench. But let's take a look at this candy first. So this is from Fraser Classic since 1949, Omar. Cream candies. Interesting. Hopefully you can make out some of what's on the back there. But the company is based out of Helsinki, Finland, so nice Finnish candy. I've never heard of this or had this. All right, let's give one of these a try here. I predict this is going to be a little bit like caramel, maybe. So this candy has the consistency of a very milky caramel, which I love because I love milk and I love caramel. I mean, who doesn't? And I took a picture of the ingredients because I couldn't read the tiny font with my bad eyes. Ingredients are sugar, milk, glucose syrup, vegetable fat, milk fat, and stabilizers, salt, flavoring. So yeah, there's not much going on in these. It's just like a milky caramel. And they're very, very good, very creamy, and it doesn't stick to your teeth. Even though I'm diabetic, I do get low blood sugar sometimes, so it is good for me to have candy around, just in case I need a few pieces to bring my sugar up. That would be perfect. And it tastes delicious, and it's quite different. Okay, the next candy here is also from Fraser. Okay, Finnish? Yeah. The picture on the front of these looks a little bit like a fox. So, or a devil creature or something. These say Fraser Classics, it's $18.95 on the front, compared to the Omars here, which I think said $19.49. So these are older. Okay, so as I unwrap this, it maybe has the consistency of taffy. Oh no! Well, very interesting. I'm not sure this is gonna focus with my face in the camera, but it's kind of like a sugary gel thing. That is absolutely delicious. Kind of reminds me of Turkish Delight a little bit, but more crusty sugar coating on the top and the bottom, and it's less gelatinous, less chewy, but it's kind of got a sweet, very sugary flavor. Another fantastic candy for bringing up my blood sugar, and I've never had anything quite like this. This is awesome, I love it. All right, the next one here is also from Fraser, This one says since 1977, Turkish Piber. You know, that's the worst pronunciation ever. I'm kind of worried by the packaging. It looks very industrial. And on the back here, it says, too hot to handle? Let's cut into these. Oh no, oh no. Okay, so these are not individually wrapped. And these already have the flavor of licorice, black licorice, which I'm not a huge fan of. So, and if it says too hot to handle, is it spicy black licorice? I'm kind of worried, but I'm gonna take one for the team. I really don't like it. All right, so yeah, not as bad as I would have thought. It definitely has a licorice flavor, and it has a little bit of a spicy kick to it, and it's a pretty good combination, actually. I think I like that more than just if it was pure licorice. As far as the spicy factor goes, I still taste the spiciness, but it's not that spicy. I'm used to eating a lot of Asian food here on the west coast of the US, plus food from Mexico and other Latin American countries, which are spicy, and I'm used to that now. So this is not hot for me. But it's definitely a different taste, and this is something that I'm gonna have to have people try when they are able to come over to my house, whenever that is, because of course, human malware and everything. Anyhow, very cool. And the last thing is a chocolate bar, Carl Fraser since 1891. It looks like some type of chocolate here. It's 200 grams, and it says milk chocolate in English. It says it in Finnish as well. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that because I will ruin that. But I'm looking forward to trying some Finnish milk chocolate. Here we go. Just gonna break off a chunk here. Looks like standard milk chocolate affair. Well, that is absolutely delicious. I mean, I'm not a milk chocolate connoisseur, so to tell the difference between one to another, I can't really tell, but that's really good milk chocolate. I love dark chocolate. I think that's my favorite. Maybe the 75% range of stuff, because the bitterness, oh, so good. But that's pretty good too. And I'm just looking up the viewer's name who sent this stuff to me. It's T-E-R-O, Taro, maybe? Tiro? I'm sorry I'm mispronouncing your name. Thanks again for sending this stuff in, and let's take a look at this stuff on the bench. So an Apple II SD card. Really interesting. Apple II SD version 1.0. And yeah, I'm not really familiar with what exactly this card is all about. This bodge, kind of amusing. And he included this SD card here. So we'll have to test this out and see how this works exactly. But we do have a Xilinx chip here. I think X9572XL. Is that a CPLD? And this, I'm thinking this is a flash or an EPROM or something like that. 2816, so I assume it's like a 2716. But an EEPROM, and then we just have a bus transceiver here. So pretty simple stuff, but obviously this CPLD or FPGA is doing all the heavy lifting. Here is the Apple II Plus. Let's pop this card into it. I'm going to put this in slot 6. There is no disk controller in slot 6. I have this disk controller plugged into slot 5. It was hooked up to my floppy EMU, but it's not hooked up right now. See how this works. I have the 2 Plus connected to the TV here. It just crashed immediately. And looks like it's just trying to display some kind of lowercase. So this may only work in the Apple IIe. Let me just try it one more time. Yeah, immediate crash. So this, like I said, this must be Apple IIe compatible. I'm gonna break out a 2E. Here is an Apple IIe Platinum. I haven't showed this on the channel before. I haven't had it very long, and it doesn't need any repair. It just works. So it's nothing particularly interesting. Being a Platinum 2E, this is an enhanced machine, which means it has a 65C802, 128K of RAM. This is a super serial card. It does have a disk controller, and it's in slot 6. So I'm gonna move this into slot 5. Wow, these slots really hold on tight in this. And we'll put this SD card in slot 6 on this machine. Now, I don't want to run this too long. I just plugged in the power because there might be a RIFA in here. I don't know. This power supply looks pretty new, but I haven't opened this thing up to inspect for any possible RIFA, so I just have to be careful. All right, here we go. Oh, I was trying to boot GSOS. So I guess this emulates a hard drive. Interesting. Let me go put this card into my Windows machine. Just take a look at what's on there. Maybe I can put a Apple IIe hard drive image. So I tried to image that SD card and I just had no luck. So I wrote onto a new one here with an Apple II hard drive image, I think. And let's just see what happens. Oh, insta crash. That doesn't seem very happy. Let me try another image. All right, let's see if this works. Hey, look at that. So this is the mech collection. Let's see, Oregon Trail. One moment, please. Not sure how this menu works, but look at that, it loaded up. That's pretty cool. Let's look at the Oregon Top 10. Some of these names seem familiar. But hey, yeah, this boots up pretty quickly as well. Interesting, I hit Open Apple Control Reset, and it just went to this. Let me power cycle the computer altogether. And then, look, it loaded right up into ProDOS here, I guess. So there is a little LED on here, which is like an activity LED. It lights up when it's booting. And I must say, it's pretty impressive. I wish the ROM supported the Apple II Plus. It seems to just crash immediately. Although, you know what? Maybe it was crashing because of the SD card. So perhaps I should test this menu on the 2 Plus, or this image, that is. As far as images go, I tried originally copying a .2mg file onto this. I just used Win32 Disk Imager, and that didn't work. But this is a .hdv file, and that works. So I'm not exactly sure of which format works. .po, that's a pretty common format for hard drive images, and I'm wondering if that works on here as well. So anyways, if anyone has any tips on how to convert between those different formats, because I do have a couple really good hard drive images filled with games and stuff for the Apple II, but they are 2mg files, and that didn't seem to work on this. So if you can suggest a way for me to convert, that would be really handy. Just as a side note, I put this back in the 2 Plus with that working Apple II mech collection, and it just immediately crashes. So clearly this ROM must not be compatible with the 6502 processor on the Apple II Plus, probably, unless it also uses 128K of RAM or some other reason. It's not working. And I think what's in here is, sure enough, it's a VIC-IIe. So this is what goes in the 128, and this is the PAL variant, and it's the graphics chip. And he sent this because I had the one German Commodore 128 sent to me that was PAL, and just had really bad output video quality. And I didn't have another VIC-2 chip to test with, so now I do. And if I put this in, I have exactly the same video quality issues. Well, then I know that there's a problem on the board, I guess, maybe in the RF modulator, or I can eliminate the VIC-IIe as the problem. And here is the German Commodore 128, the PAL one that had the flaky chip in it. Well, let's just give this a quick test to see what it looks like before I change the chip out. That is weird. I assume that's the retro tank freaking out again. I gotta really try a new firmware on this thing. See if it improves its weird performance. Okay, well, where's the color though? All right, there we go. Oh yeah, that looks bad. But it's not as bad as the 64 mode. So let's switch over to that. Yep, there it is. That looks terrible. Hopefully the camera is picking up those issues. Look at that. I mean, what? I'm pushing the letter S. Let's push the number sign here. See, that's what I'm talking about. Something seems quite wrong there. Yes, that's not looking good at all. Okay, let's do a little swap. I already have the cover screws removed on the computer, so hopefully I can get this apart. I had to use a little plastic pry tool right here on these clips. This case is in good shape and it's fresh. And as the case gets older, those get really much easier to take off. But right now, that's hard. This large IC right here is the VIC-IIe, E for enhanced, because over the C64, there's really no additional graphics capabilities on this one. It simply has some extra signals to handle some other functions in the machine. Commodore overloaded the VIC-2 with more stuff that it is unrelated to graphics on this version. So this is the new chip. Well, new as in old. 51st week of 1986. Let's pop this one out. Oops, luckily that was pretty easy to get out because I had Deoxit in there. So 43rd week of 1985, and you see I wrote marginal on there. Okay, let's see about getting this chip in here without bending any pins. Hopefully that did the trick. It's in the right way. Notch is towards me. First, I'm just gonna turn this on, make sure that it does work. And there we go. Hey, that looks a lot better already. We have the RetroTink freaking out, doing the wrong thing again. Don't really understand how that happens, but if I power cycle it, should fix that problem. Oh, come on, RetroTink. What are you doing to me? Why are you doing this? What if I unplug the video cable, plug it back in? Okay, there we go. That's working. And let's switch over to 64 mode and see how that looks, because that's the problem child. And look at that. I hope that the camera is focusing properly, but other than the jail bars, which are completely normal on the C128, that looks absolutely perfect. Let's do some color text here. So here's red. Yeah, and that looks great now. Let's do some number signs. I mean, sure, red on here always looks a little blurry. And here's the brown color that was looking really bad. I mean, it's hard to read, but over the blue, that's just always how it is. But I mean, look how sharp all the letters are. There's no more smearing. There's no more weird artifacts. This looks absolutely exactly how I'd expect it to look. So this is awesome because this chip here, oops, if I hold it the right way, it was clearly failing, marginal, whatever. Just like the other VIC-IIe I have on my NTSC ones. It seems like there's some kind of a problem with potentially the process used to make these chips, and whatever the side effect is, it starts to have all this weird color bleeding and other issues, and it gets fixed by just swapping out the VIC chip. So I'm excited now because I wanted to use this 128 for playing PAL games and stuff because it has such a wonderful sharp output. Other than the jail bars that it's got going on, this thing looks absolutely fantastic. And speaking of the jail bars, I actually have something to try to fix the jail bars on the 128, which I will be showing in a video that's coming up soon. So watch for that. So awesome. Thank you very much, Taro. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name. Thank you very much for saying this stuff in and that wonderful candy into mail call. Really appreciate it. All right, next package comes from, I think, Nigel in Walnut Grove, Minnesota. The name is Barbara on the from address, but I think Nigel's actually who sent this. And I wrote a little note on here that says, see email PRG. So I can't remember what this is exactly, but we'll find out when I open this. I received this on the 20th of September. So it's definitely kind of old. Ah, yes, okay, I remember now. Okay, so there's a note, but what he sent me is the Australian MAD magazine with a special computer section. And of course, with being a MAD magazine on the back, there's another one. Yes, and this note is not a note. This comes from Barbara, who I think was the seller of the magazine. And Nigel bought this either Amazon or eBay and had it sent directly to me. So here is the email from Nigel. Back in 1985, MAD magazine published a type-in program for your computer. I duly typed in hundreds of lines of code, and guess what? It didn't work. Apparently they made some mistakes and issued a correction in a subsequent issue, which I didn't get. So 35 years later, can you please type in the program, debug it, and put it on your channel? And he goes on to say, or you could perhaps just use the attached D64 disk image and run it on a Commodore 64 for me. Nigel, absolutely. Let's take a look at this stuff on the bench. So let's take a look at the MAD magazine that Nigel sent. It's nice that it was in this protective plastic. The magazine itself is in really good shape. Now, I don't remember if Nigel said he was from Australia or not. This was shipped, I think, from the US, but it's definitely the Australian version of MAD magazine. I love this. Our price, $1.60 and $2.50 New Zealand dollars. Cheap, like totally cheap. Now I'm curious, does anyone who knows MAD magazine know if this magazine here is the same as the American one, like the cover art and articles and stuff that are in here, or was this specific to the Australian market? But take a look at this, featuring the MAD computer program and his head. He's getting sucked into the computer. He's ripping away at the cover, and you can see what's behind it. In fact, I wonder if it's actually what's behind it. It is! That's pretty cool. I mean, it's printed on the front here, but it is actually what's on the back there. That's awesome. And by the way, psst, if you don't like this cover, try the one on the back. There it is. There's the one on the back. No, you turkey, this is not the front cover of Australian MAD. The MAD computer program, it's the Goonies edition, right? MAD Waiter Hates. Now, who doesn't like Goonies? I mean, awesome, right? It was a great movie. In fact, Goonies was filmed, or at least the exterior scenes were filmed right here in Oregon, in Astoria, which is not that far from Portland, actually. And it was until recently that you could go see the outside of the Goonies house, the one that the kids lived in. It's on the, like, right on the hillside in Astoria, which is a beautiful little town. Astoria is in Oregon, and there's a bridge that takes you over to Washington, which is the state right on the other side of the river. And here, MAD Super Special out now. MAD slides back. It does say the entire contents are copyrighted by EC Publications in New York, New York. So it seems like this was sort of a subsidiary. Australia, National Library of Australia, printed in Hong Kong. Well, MAD magazine was pretty mad. Oh, there's nudity in the next couple pages, so I'm going to skip over that. You know, YouTube algorithms, who knows, right? Look at this, Spy versus Spy. Who remembers the awesome games? Spy versus Spy, I played a ton of that on my Apple II back in the day. The lighter side of weddings, speeding, predictability, addiction. Like... This might have been like something that kids read, but clearly there's a lot of adult humor in here. All right, well, there's a lot of funny stuff in here. What I Wore program. The date tracking program. Where we went, the Big Taco restaurant. What we did, went back to her house, watched TV, was asked to leave by 11 p.m. by her old man. I'm reading down here. The excuse program. Occasion, late for work. Excuses used. Dead battery, twice. Train derailment. Sick Aunt Betsy. Dead grandmother. Available. It's flat tire. Tire spelled American spelling. T-I-R-E. I think it's T-Y-R-E. In Australia. Dental emergency and mugging victim. That's good uses for... Wait, when is this magazine even from? Is there a date on here? I mean, This must be from obviously the early 80s. If computers are so brilliant, why can't they report your correct wages to the IRS, especially when it's a known fact that the IRS will always believe a computer and assume the taxpayer is lying? Oh, man. MAD's Guide to Computer Language. Floppy. The condition of a constant computer user's stomach due to lack of exercise and a steady diet of junk food. See chips. Chips, the fattening, non-nutritional food computer users eat to try to avoid having to leave their keyboard for meals. Dump, the place all your former hobbies wind up soon after you install your computer. RAM, what you do to the side of your computer when it's not working properly. Return, what lots of people do with their computers after only a week and a half. And then here's the program that Nigel must have been talking about. The MAD computer program. Here's a great way to waste time, energy, and money. Enter into your computer the program below and create your own MAD logo and Alfred E. Newman face. Yuck! Apple users note, after you finish entering the program, be sure to save it before calling for a printout or you're screwed. You can try this program on a Mac, but it won't work. So it looks like you type in this little specific part of the program, and then when you're finished, you go to line 500 and you continue typing. And if I go to 500, it's a whole bunch of data statements. So these data statements obviously are shared amongst all the different versions of the basic programs. And this is clearly what Nigel typed in and then got stuck with. So the Apple section is here. The Atari section has a note, Atari user note. There is no Atari user's note. Okay. And then there's the program, and it says, okay, rotate your eyeballs and go to line 500 on page 38. And then here's the Commodore version. This is obviously what Nigel typed in. Still awake? Good. Now go to line 500 on page 38 and continue entering. Commodore user note, after entering, allow 20 minutes for the graphics to fully appear. If it takes any longer, your computer probably isn't plugged in. Is that a dig at how slow the, Commodore is? And then there's a little tiny IBM program. It's the shortest of the lot, at least for the first part. IBM user note, you have to spring for a color card for your unit or this program will not work correctly. Tough nuts. And it says, you're doing great. For a second-rate hacker, now go to line 500 and continue entering. And imagine typing all of this in to have an error. Unbelievable. Of course, we have to check out the back folding page. So, of course, this is what it looks like, right? You have boozing and cruising. There's a big bottle of booze here. Of course, you open it up. Here's a tale that's truly amazing. Boot Hill was filled by 6 shooters blazing, and even today, it ain't so surprising. Cruel ways of killing, they're always devising. And a little funeral scene here at the cemetery. All right, let's get the Commodore 64 out and try that D64 from the email. All right, so I have the ZV-64 out, and so it doesn't look like I'm just running it on an emulator. Instead of using the RetroTink and the 1080p monitor, let's use a CRT. And yes, this is actually a picture of me coming from the C64. A viewer sent some of these to me, they're PRG files. He converted some still screen caps, and you run them on the 64, and it uses some kind of flickery interlace mode to give you more colors. So there I am in the glorious 16 Commodore 64 colors. All right, so I've copied the MAD program onto the SDIEC. I am not gonna type that program in, no way, especially because Nigel pointed out that there's an error in that listing, which was later fixed in a later magazine, so forget it. So clearly someone has already typed this in and Nigel went and he found it. So I copied it onto the card here, and here it is, MAD program D64, MAD computer, here we go. So there it is, it's doing something. What exactly is it doing? It's taking a long time, right? I guess we have to wait. Well, clearly this is going to take a very, very long time. So I'm just going to pause this and we'll come back to it. And there we have it. It completed. Mad Magazine, his face, and what me worry? So obviously the graphics that you see here are in those data statements, and it was basically making this by drawing little lines. And that little BASIC program at the top just plots the coordinates that are stored in the data. And that's how it works on all the different computers. So Apple II, IBM PC, and the Commodore 64 and the Atari all have roughly the similar resolution, right? 320 by 200-ish. And it just plots this in the middle of the screen, and that's all you get. And so Nigel, there you go. After all those years, here it is. In fact, let me break out of this and see if we can list the program, just so you can see that it's actually what was typed in. All right, so we do list. Here we go. There it is. There's all those data statements. So there you go, Nigel. I hope you found it satisfying to see the program that you struggled over typing in running on a real 64 on a real CRT monitor and seeing what it actually did. Thanks for sending this in. So that's going to be it for this mail call video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. But if you didn't, you know what to do. You can hit that thumbs down button. Hit that subscribe button to subscribe to my channel and the little bell icon to be notified on your phone when I post new videos. And of course, put your comments and your suggestions down in the comment section below. I really appreciate it when you do that. So that's going to be it. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.